Good evening, everybody. I, on behalf of EIZOC, welcome you all to this ORPI session that we are conducting for the last 3 years. This is Ophthalmic Research and Publication Initiative. So we are very much fortunate to have Dr. Jyotirmay Biswas, the renowned UAT specialist from Sankar Netra, Chennai, with us. So we are going to discuss on a topic which is I think it's very important, how to read an article. It is very important. So before writing, we should know how to read an article. So that needs a lot of also effort, how to read. Unless we know how to read an article, we cannot come to any conclusion out of any article that we are going to read. So we are very fortunate to have with us Dr. Jyotirmay Biswas with us. I welcome Dr. Chaitra Jayadev, the mentor of this program. And I also welcome Dr. Professor BNR Subudhi, the Chief Coordinator for all our virtual academic activities on behalf of EIZOC. So with this brief welcome address, I hand over the proceeding to Professor BNR Subudhi to proceed, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Patnaik, our Chairman Side View Committee. So I welcome you all to this program. Let me share the screen. Sorry. Just give me 1 minute. I'm sharing the screen. My screen is visible?
No.
No. Sorry.
To share.
Nimaji?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Something has come up.
Now it's coming.
Yes, sir.
No, that's actually
Oh, that is last.
the last one, this one. Let me give me 2 minutes.
Sir, namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Biswas, sir, namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste.
Sir, namaste. Namaste. Sabyasachi, sir, namaste.
Hi, Dr. Sarmisha.
Hey.
Is it open now? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
now
I
it's visible.
It's visible.
Okay.
Make it full screen, sir.
So is it visible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. So sorry for the delay. Thank you very much, our Chairman Secretary Committee, for giving the opportunity to organize these programs. Since last 3 years, we are organizing these programs of Ophthalmic Research and Publication Initiative. And this time it is Series 11. And today we are really fortunate to get Dr. Jyotirmay Biswas, And today's topic is how to read an article. This is our team. I'm the chief coordinator of this program. Of course, Dr. Ajit Babu Maji is always advising us
Sir,
all the
your slides are not moving. Sir.
not
I
moving.
don't know. Actually,
I'm
these
sorry.
are not moving for me.
Make it slideshow.
Now it's visible.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is our team. Mentor, as Dr. Patnaik has already said, Dr. Chaitra, irrespective of her busy schedule, she always joins with us wherever she is in the market, in a guest place, wherever she is, always she guides us in this program since last 3 years. I thank Dr. Chaitra for organizing this program for us. And of course, nothing goes with our team. President of EIZOC, Dr. B.N. Gupta, Secretary of EIZOC, Dr. Swaraj Bhattacharya, and Dr. Sabasaj Patnaik, our Chairman Scientific Committee, with our regular moderators like Dr. Papula Mahana, Dr. Natasha Das, giving us always some inputs how to carry these programs. Today's speaker, really excellent speaker. We already heard him so many times, conferences, CME programs, even virtual programs too. He was there with us in the first session of ORPI program, long time back. So to tell a few words about him, Dr. Jyotirmoy Biswas, as you know, is the director of EIZOC in Ocular Pathology Department at Shankar Nethralaya, Chennai. He has done fellowship in veterinary surgery from Shankar Nethralaya and fellowship in ophthalmic pathology at Dohri Institute, University of South Carolina, USA. Since then, I think he's faculty at Shankar Nethralaya till date. He has published 494 articles in Permanent Index journals, 65 chapters in books of ophthalmology. He has presented over 300 papers in national and international conferences. He had 5 books on uveitis and 1 book on ophthalmic pathology. He is a visiting professor at Advanced Eye Care Center at PGIM Chandigarh and Chinese University of Hong Kong. He has also mentored 61 uveitis fellows in the last few years. He has received 50 awards, including Hariom Ashram Olympic Research Award from ICMR, given by none other than our President of India. He is the founding member and past president of Uveitis Society of India. He is the founding president of Society of Inflammatory Research. We are the first to describe ocular lesions in AIDS in India. He has been ranked 8 in the top 2% of Indian researchers in ophthalmology by Stanford top cited researcher ranking. Besides this, he is a marathon runner, and also he recites so many Bengali poems. Already heard many times I've heard these Bengali poems and won several awards for the same too. So it is all this team. So I welcome him, sir. I welcome you to this program. Today's moderator is a very young and dynamic Dr. Pranita Sahai. So recently, I have seen her at our RP center, AIO's headquarters at New Delhi. Last Sunday, she was from morning 8 o'clock to till evening 4 o'clock. She was there with the postgrad students, teaching SSTC program to the students. She is a really prolific writer, prolific reader, and whatnot. She is the associate consultant, cornea and refractive surgery, Center for Sight, New Delhi. And along with her, today's panelists, Dr. Sharmishta Behra, Associate Professor Vimsar Burla, Dr. Bandana Prasad, the Senior Consultant Ophthalmology in Sri Jagannath Hospital and Research Center, the Department of Ophthalmology, Ranchi, Jharkhand. And of course, Dr. Sujata Das is a faculty member at L. Prasad Eye Institute, Bhubaneswar since 2006, a great cornea surgeon. And of course, Dr. Nidhi Gadkar, today's another panelist. She is the consultant of cornea and cataract services at Kashyap Memorial Eye Hospital, Kranchi. Today's postgrad students, Dr. Pooja Patnaik, Dr. Chitrangada Singh, Dr. Bharat Mittal, Dr. Ranjan Sharma, Dr. Jyoti Goyal, Dr. Sonali, all these postgraduates from various institutes of EIZOC and also other states of our country. So they will be interacting with our panelists and moderators with the speaker too. So these few words, I welcome you all to today's program. Already we are late. So now it's over to Dr. Pranita Sahai. Before Pranita starts the program, a few words we want to listen from Dr. Chaitra Jaydev. She is our mentor, always with us. So over to Dr. Chaitra.
Thank you, sir. And today it's an honor to be here, actually, more than anything else, because Dr. JB, as we all call him, is going to be speaking to all of us. And though I have never been a student of sir, I've been learning constantly from him, whether it is uvea, ocular inflammation, or publishing itself. He's one of the highest published authors in the country, and so widely he has published his research. So real privilege to hear you, sir, today.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Chaitra.
Now, Dr. Pranita, it is over to Dr. Pranita to moderate the session, also to continue the session till end. Okay, please.
Good evening, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So, at the outset, I would like to welcome everybody to this well-designed webinar by Dr. Subudhi. And from my residency days, I've been reading articles for Dr. Biswas's articles for vasculitis, for tuberculosis and uveitis. We've been reading his original articles and review articles time and again. And I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to hear right from the master on how to read an original article. Sir, off to you.
Can I? I've been assigned, good evening. Is my slides visible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Good evening. It's indeed a great honor and privilege for me to participate in this program. And I just thought that I will talk first. Why should we publish? And tell me a little bit about my journey in publishing. And then we will talk and discuss about how to read a scientific paper. So let me tell a few words about why should we publish. I feel that and believe that the scientific work, no matter how spectacular the findings are, is not complete until it is published. The scientist must not only do research, but also must write up the research works to communicate with others. What is required in publication? First of all, enthusiasm. Second, persistence, strong commitment, and finally, passion. What is in it for you? Why should you publish? Because the publication is aged in history, it persists forever. 8 minutes talk or 10 minutes talk or 15 minutes talk or 30 minutes oration would be forgotten over time. But a publication will be forever. Publication is the gold standard. It goes to the peer review process, particularly in the PubMed Index journal or Index journal. You can learn a lot from the literature review and learn from the review process, the feedback which you get from the reviewers, your peers, and knowledge gets crystallized in the process. I thought that I will first share with you my journey in publication. A writer is rarely born. We are not Tagore or we started, many of us started with baby steps like we. I just started with baby steps. First wrote in the house journal Netralaya Insight, which was brought out by Shankar Netralaya under the leadership of Dr. S.S. Badrinath. Then I started writing in the Tamil Nadu Ophthalmic Journal, State Journal. I'm still learning the art of scientific writing even after several publications. And this is a Netralaya Insight, which used to come, and this January 1984, the issue had one of my articles written by us. And this also used to go through that peer review process. And then started writing in that Netralaya Insight and Tamil Nadu Ophthalmic Journal. Then after writing few journals, a few articles, I thought that I could have tell something about practical suggestions in writing a research paper. So 1998, I wrote practical suggestions in the writing of a research paper in Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. today's talk, many of the things which I will be sharing is been written in this article. And then with Sabyasachi, we have written the article, published at Paris, The Art of Scientific Writing. So this is the way I was working on it. This is a case of a macular serpiginous choroiditis. As you know, the serpiginous choroiditis usually involves peripapillary area, but there is a variant which occurs in the macular area. I was seeing from this type of variant for quite a long time. I thought that I will keep record of these cases. And when we have got a sizable number, I started analyzing it. And I did the clinical profile, multimodal imaging, and treatment response in this type of choroiditis, and brought out a paper with the help of my postgraduate fellow. I have my share of failure also. It's not rosy always. And you can see that 34 of my articles has been rejected. Even in the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, and which is now is a very highly rated journal with the high index impact factor. And we have gone through the process. So why should we publish actually? So I thought that I'll share with a quotation from Huxley, which I like it. The known is finite, the unknown is infinite. Intellectually, we stand on an islet in the midst of ocean of inexplicability. Our business in every generation is to reclaim a little more land. And that is the ultimate goal or aim of publication, to claim a little more land. And I'll talk about my journey of research and publication. Let me share my humble experience. Where I started, it was in 1985. Some of you are not born. I just joined as a consultant, finishing my vitreoretinal fellowship. I was given a research project, ocular morbidity in active systemic tuberculosis. I asked the questions, what is the ocular morbidity in active systemic tuberculosis? A very simple question. What are the various types of ocular tuberculosis seen? Is disease seen in active systemic tuberculosis? With these following three questions, I started screening the TB patients in a TB center in Madras. That time it was called to Madras, and we used to go by a van and then made a makeshift eye clinic where I used to examine the slit lamp in depth ophthalmoscopy of 1,005 patients studied in 1 year. And I found only 14 patients had ocular tuberculosis. It was really that time frustrating, but and I was searching for EIZOC disease, and no case of EIZOC disease was seen. Most common was a healed focal choroiditis. And this was one of the photographs taken from the patient. Actually, I brought the patient in an auto and took the photo from the TB hospital, and it was taken 36 years back, a miliary tuberculosis of the choroid in a small girl of pulmonary tuberculosis. I did extensive manual search in the literature, and I found that my observation was correct. Those days that internet or PubMed search was not there. So I found my observation is correct. And there was a publication in American Journal of Ophthalmology in a sanatorium where they found that there is a 1.4% of systemic tuberculosis as ocular tuberculosis. And therefrom, I started the journey of ocular morbidity in patients with active systemic tuberculosis, published in International Ophthalmology Journal. Then I started looking for ocular TB in pathology lab registry. There are only 5 cases I found a TB box was seen in 10-year period. And I assembled all these cases, collated, and wrote an article and it was accepted in the Retina Journal in 1995, Intraocular Tuberculosis, Clinical Pathological Study of 5 cases. This is a simple idea, but it also worked well. And this was the photograph of a patient who had diagnosed as sarcoid uveitis and was put on a high dose of oral steroid, developed subretinal abscess, and ultimately became painful and blind. when this eye was eviscerated, and the eviscerated tissues, when I saw, I could find out myriads of acid-fast bacilli in the subretinal space. And such a huge amount of acid-fast bacilli in the TB eye was not observed by many. So we published it, and subsequently I started working on Eales disease. Eales disease was described by Henry Eales in 1880, and we used to see a lot of Eales disease cases. 1 in 135 eye patients in Sampanathala was Eales disease, and I thought that I will concentrate on working on this disease, Eales disease. So, question I asked, what is the cause of the Eales disease? There's a presumption that time that this is due to the TB. I asked the question, is there NTB in the vitreous fluid? We got the vitreous fluid epiretinal membrane from patients with Eales disease undergoing vitreoretinal surgery. We did smear culture, we didn't show anything, and then we did the PCR. I worked with Professor Madhavan in our microbiology head in the microbiology department, and we found that PCR result of the vitreous, about 50% of the vitreous sample was positive for the mycobacterium tuberculosis DNA. And surprisingly, none of was culture positive. So it is the mycobacterium tuberculosis DNA probably responsible for causation or immunopathogenesis of Eales disease. Later on, we did that, looked into the epiretinal membrane of Eales disease and did the polymerase chain reaction for detection of mycobacterium tuberculosis DNA. And we found 47% of the epiretinal membrane of Eales disease was positive for mycobacterium tuberculosis DNA. We concluded that the cell-mediated immunologic reaction triggered by sequestered mycobacterium tuberculosis antigen is responsible for Eales disease. Then subsequently, we had a chance of getting an eyeball specimen of a case of Eales disease, and 8 of us worked and did that molecular biologic study, immunopathological study, and histopathologic study, and collated this data and published in ocular immunology and inflammation. And this was a retinal tissues where there is a vascular channels are seen, and surrounded by the vascular channel, you can see the lymphocytic infiltration. We did the immunohistochemical study, and immunohistochemical study showed CD4 positive T cells, and also the CD8 positive T cells were seen predominantly. And the molecular biology study, PCR by nested and real-time PCR showed mycobacterium tuberculosis DNA. So T suppressor cells was responsible for the immunopathogenesis, and the triggering agent was mycobacterium tuberculosis DNA. So we collated the data of the our studies on the Eales disease. I had about 32 articles, gone through the 300 full-text articles, analyzed global data, wrote 18 pages, put 18 photographs, 6 tables, 1 year worked and wrote a major review, and which is often quoted in the literature. It was a hard work, but as you know, that hard work always pays. So we did not stop. We thought that what could the long-term outcome of large cohort of patients with Eales disease. So one of the Risha Jitesh was from Kerala was posted with us. Together we worked of 500 patients, 898 eyes data, and follow-up of 15.8 years, and resulted in a publication of long-term outcome of a large cohort of patients with Eales disease. So big data can also provide a good information and material for publication. We found bilaterality in 81% cases, and acute stage oral steroid provided very good prognosis. Laser treatment in the proliferative stage, better prognosis. Recurrence is about 52% patient had less than 5 recurrences in 10 years, which is not quite uncommon. We looked at the ocular lesions in AIDS in India. AIDS as that time started coming, and in 1995 we saw the first two cases of AIDS in India. It was maybe many of us have seen before that, but I wrote in a week time the 2 cases which I've seen, and published, sent it to the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. ocular lesions in AIDS, report of first 2 cases in India. Subsequently, we continued searching for the ocular lesions in AIDS patients. When you have got 100 consecutive patients and which are collaborating with the AIDS Care Center, we published in American Journal of Ophthalmology ocular lesion associated with the HIV infections, a series of 100 consecutive patients evaluated at referral center. This was a 40% of the patients those days had 1 or more ocular lesions. These lesions were quite varied. And we didn't stop there. We consecutively studied, keep on studying on the ocular lesions rates, and 1,000 consecutive HIV positive patients in India. We long-term study, we worked it out, and we still found the CMV retinitis is still the most common opportunistic infection in the eye in AIDS patients. We started finding out a very peculiar finding that in AIDS patients in our country has got ocular tuberculosis. In addition to the systemic tuberculosis, they develop several ocular lesions suggestive of tuberculosis. And we published the data in the American Journal of Ophthalmology 2006, first report from the India. And this was a varied manifestation which was well documented by us, and starting from a small tubercle in the choroid, conjunctival tuberculoma, panophthalmitis, and subretinal abscess. So it is important to look for new findings in a disease like AIDS, and which is typical in our country. Epidemiology of uveitis, I had a humble beginning. I used to write in a notebook, actually, in the big register, the name of the patients, the MRD number, and all. And at the end of the year, I thought that why not to analyze it. I presented it as a free paper, got the feedback, and wrote it up as a pattern of uveitis in India, published, often cited in the literature. And it's important to keeping track of your patients. It's not a rocket science, just in manual record of the patients, and which after that we translated into a paper. And this was the paper which was published with my fellow, Dr. Devashish Das, pattern of uveitis and referral uveitis clinic in India, which is often quoted. This was one of the first publication of pattern of uveitis in our country. So what I did is that I keep that habit and following the data. And 23 years after, I wrote the changing uveitis pattern in South India, comparison between the 2 decades. And we found 66% of the cases etiology could determine than compared to the 41% in 23 years before. And we found intermediate uveitis is the second most common than posterior uveitis, and most common cause of posterior uveitis changed from toxoplasmosis to tuberculosis. And viral retinitis has emerged as a new infection in the eye, in the uveitis patient. So one can keep following the data and can come to a good conclusion and learn in this process. And this data can be basis for the further research. I try to look into that parasitic uveitis in various types. Being a pathologist, I had interest in pathology, in the pathology of the parasitic diseases. I documented several parasites in the eye and published it individually, as well as recently a series of cases of parasitic lesions in the eyes. I'm not showing the videos of that. I had the video embedded in it. The intraocular Nathostoma spinigerum is a kind of a parasite with the spines in the body. It comes from the dog. I got a case, 2 cases actually, of Nathostoma spinigerum. So we got the parasite out, and I took it to the botany department of Madras University for electron microscopy. And this is the first time that electron microscopy study was done of this parasite, Nathostoma spinigerum. Seeing a parasite in the eye is a chance. Many of us have seen it, but working it up fully and writing up needs effort. And if you put your efforts, it's never failed. You can publish in very good journals. And this was a documentation of the parasite, which has seen in the anterior segment producing iris soles, and then in the tract in the subretinal space. And this is a scanning electron microscopy, wet mount preparation, and histopathologic study of that parasite. We had a chance to see an ocular malaria. A patient died from falciparum malaria and the eyeball was available in the histopathology study as it came as a donor eye. We couldn't use it because the patient had a malaria. I took that posterior portion of the eye and found there is a lot of retinal hemorrhages in the eye, and worked for several days and could actually find the malaria parasite within the choroidal blood vessels. And there is a saying called fortune favors the trier, and it was really hold good in my case. And this is the malaria parasite you can see in the choroidal blood vessels, and the rouleau formation typically seen in the falciparum malaria, and the hemorrhages over the optic disc. So when you want something, all the universe in fact conspires in helping you to achieve it, as said by Paul Solo. So turning point in my academic career is fellowship in ophthalmic pathology in Doheny Institute, University of Southern California, Los Angeles, under Professor Narsingh Rao. I learned the art of scientific writing, not only seeing the microscopic study of the several tissues. And I started coming back and looking into the biopsy pathology and the uveitis. And this is a case of retinoblastoma, which was anterior chamber aspirate, showed large pleomorphic cohesive tumor cells. And here is lens-induced uveitis. And this is a large cell lymphoma, primary vitreoretinal lymphoma, where within the necrotic background, large lymphoma cells are seen. So we wrote that eye pathology update, biopsy pathology in uveitis, and this is my journey in short. Many of us, actually, it's not my journey alone. It's many of the people who helped me. My mentor, beloved chief, who has given me the encouragement and the support with which I could do that one. And my mentor, Professor Narsingh Rao, Doheny Institute, USA, and who allowed it, and a lot of fellows, colleagues who has worked with me. And you need to be a team man. You alone cannot do everything. And in publication is very good, holds very true to be a team person and to collaborate with others. And I'll never forget my photographer, our photographer, SP Govindarajan, who was with us, and he helped me in getting good photographs of many of the cases, which made it possible for me to publish it. And last but not the least, my wife, who has tolerated me. And actually, my first article is a primary non-familial amyloidosis of the vitreous, light microscopy and ultrastructural study. Like all of you, I was a beginner and I wrote 7 pages. Reviewer asked me to reduce it to 1 page. I was at a loss. I couldn't do it. I told my wife, he cut it off, and as the wife is the best critic, and made it in the 1 page, and the article got accepted and was my first international publication. The SSOCTA in choroiditis is one of the recent publications in international ophthalmology with my optometry researcher, my assistant. We did that SSOCTA in serpiginous choroiditis and various forms of choroiditis. I don't want to go into details of it, but this, when the new technique comes, you should apply it in your clinical settings and try to collect the data and try to publish it. Way forward, I think, is the days of the case reports is no longer there. It will be tougher and tougher. We need to have a collaborative research work, national and international analysis of the big data, artificial intelligence, proteomics in uveitis, metabolic biomarkers, new imaging technique, next generation sequencing, and targeted and local therapy. And some of us are doing it. This is Dr. Rajiv Raman, who has published in artificial intelligence and deep learning in ophthalmology. And we also worked on the tumor marker in primary vitreoretinal lymphoma, the MYD88 L265 mutations. Such kind of this clinical pathological bench to bedside application would be required for the coming years for publication. And newer therapy in uveitis, we also tried to look. This is in the biologic therapy in uveitis. This is a game changer in the uveitis treatment. When it came, we started working on it, and as soon as we got about a sizable number, we published in biological therapy in refractory cases on uveitis and scleritis, analysis of 18 cases. New drug has come, JAK inhibitor, which act on the JAK1 and JAK3, and we use this in case of scleritis, and we found that this works quite well, and is a little new pathway, in the management of recalcitrant scleritis. My recent publication is 2023. The eye is a common site of granulomatosis with polyangiitis, a collaborative study, and laboratory diagnosis in infectious uveitis. So in conclusion, I like to say that just sharing my thoughts and my journey, publication is more important than presentation. Index publications remains forever. You need to allocate your time for publication, and you require enthusiasm, dedication, sacrifice, and sometimes, and most important is the passion. And collaboration is nowadays is the key to success. With this, I like to quote that my, again, the known is finite, the unknown is infinite. Intellectually stand on an islet in the midst of ocean of inexplicability. Our business in every generation is to reclaim a little more land. What we are doing over the 30 or 30, 40, 38 years, I try to do that to reclaim a little more land from the ocean of inexplicability. Thank you very much. I think is how to read an article. We can discuss about it. That would be a good idea to how to start reading an article. I go to the library and see that article of my interest, and first read the abstract and the title and the abstract, and then go to the article in see the first photographs, tables, and then go to the results, and finally discussion, and lastly the references. Chaitra and others panelists can discuss about how to read a scientific paper much more in details.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think you have summarized your journey of success in such a humble way. And, you are like a role model for us. You're just not a good researcher, but you're also a prolific speaker. The extensive work that you've showed in the field of uveitis is just commendable. I think the learning points that we can take from here is a good documentation of everything that you see is a must. And as sir rightly said, if you have the passion to publish, you can publish whatever you want. It's just your passion. You need to keep it alive. So with this, I would like to take the discussion forward to our panelists and get back to our topic on how to read an original article. So ma'am, Dr. Sharmishta Behra, ma'am, we have associate professor who's at VSSI MSR Medical College in Burla. Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, would you like to share your views on the topic?
Yeah, I've been working in the medical college since more than 2 decades. And we have been striving to get into first at our level, we were striving to get into the acceptance of our abstracts in All India conferences. Then that clicked in 2005. And since then we have been trying. Then slowly we got into publication into PubMed IJO. And like sir said, documentation is very important, and we still we lack the EMR system in our government medical colleges. So that is a big setback to us. Gradually, we have to, amidst the rush in the OPDs and in the OTs, we have to give special attention to documentation. And even now, I'm talking of my college, even now we do not have a proper videography, photography, which is very much necessary for documentation. So I would definitely look forward to that. But in spite of that, we do try to document and then try to publish articles, which is an ultimate necessity in today's world.
Absolutely, ma'am, rightly said. Also, with the availability of the smartphone assisted photography system that has come in the field of ophthalmology, that I think has really helped, especially in places where the documentation systems are not well available for, at least for the slit lamp photography systems. So we'll move on to our next panelist, Dr. Vandana Prasad. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. A very nice presentation from Dr. Biswas. And one thing I agree with him is it needs the publication of any article needs much more passion. If you have a passion because you submit an article, then it gets rejected, or it will come for review or do certain modifications and then again submit. So for each article to publish, you have to wait for the review to be done by the committee and then whether it is accepted or not. So it is in this age of very fast, like I am a private practitioner. So documentation and then again sitting and writing the whole thing needs time. So we lack this time as a private practitioner. As Dr. Biswas said, he's very right, because you cannot do this because if you don't have a good photographer or good people around you who will just document it, because you are busy in seeing the patients and doing the OTs. So a good team has to be there, a photographer with a good person to write, to whatever you say to write up and everything. So being a practitioner, it is sometimes difficult, but a team has to be built.
True, ma'am, true. Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. Moving on to the next panelist, we have Dr. Sujata Das, ma'am. She is heading LVPI Bhubaneswar. Ma'am,
yes,
please
nice.
share your experience, ma'am.
Yes. Very inspiring talk, sir. I'll just add few things because PG students are also here. Documentation, I remember we used to draw a diagram. Although I insist still fellows to draw diagram, although the photograph is there, but still they can always try to draw diagram because color coding, exactly what you want to see in your next follow-up. All those you can draw always. Even if the facility is there, you can do that. And good observational skill is important. So if you are like any new finding, unless you have a good observational skill, you cannot point out and publish. Third is statistics. Statistics is a part and parcel of publication. You may not be like a statistician, you may not do everything, but at least the basic thing, there are many courses available. So as a PG student or after PG also, if it is not, if not gone through, basically statistician, biostatistician help. If it is available, it's fine. Otherwise, you have to, even if it is available, we should know which test to apply where. And I'll encourage all those PG students who are attending or listening, try to publish your thesis first, because this is the first thing what you do. If it is RCT, if it is a retrospective case series, and when you do your thesis, you do a literature review. Before you write your thesis, you do there's a component called literature search. When you do that, somebody can write a review article, because you are doing anyway, you are doing all those literature search. So all those I can add in addition to what sir has already mentioned.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wise words. So we'll move on to the last panelist, Dr. Nidhi Gatkar. She is working as a cornea consultant at Kashyap Hospital in Ranchi. Nidhi.
Good evening. To all the PGs, I would like to suggest that many a times you have not read any topic completely and you do not know about all the presentations. So if you find something which is a little deviated from your routine findings, you should always go back and read it and find if this has been reported or not. Because many a times when we are juniors, we think that this might be a common presentation and we do not note it down. But that is one thing that I saw during my PG days, that a lot of findings I found out which were not reported, and it was notified to my seniors, and then they noticed it. So that is one. Then about the reading of the articles also, again, index journals and the journals having a higher impact factor obviously makes more sense. But I started reading a lot of articles on from DOS, and that gave me an idea of how to write it at a smaller scale, and then you can go up to bigger data and analyzing a lot of statistics and everything. So it's like a stepwise manner. You might not be able to direct jump at the bigger level, but with smaller steps, as sir said, you can do well over time.
Rightly said.
Very
ma'am.
rightly told.
Yeah. So basically, so just summarize it up for the postgraduate students. First, an important thing, whenever you are reading, whenever you want to read about a topic, basic standard textbook is the way to go. First, go through your textbooks and then go on to reading articles. With data being so readily available on Google that often you end up typing everything up on the Google search page, and the first thing that comes up is either a Wikipedia or an iWiki thing. So try and avoid that trend. First, read and go through your textbooks, then try and go to the internet system wherein you only want to read through standard index journal articles. Okay. For postgraduates, I think if you really want to read more about a topic, go through a review article rather than going on to original articles or case reports, which will give you a more holistic idea about your subject. And then obviously, if you want to know about what are the recent advances, you can go on to reading original articles. And, reading these articles sometimes becomes very lengthy and tedious, and you get exhausted midway and you do not reach at the end of the article. So always, as sir also said, first read the title, read the abstract, and then go on to the conclusion. Only if you find something relevant in the conclusion, go back and read the results section in detail. The methodology section is not meant for postgraduate students. It is meant for researchers who want to either plan a study or design a study on the basis of that article, or for the reviewers who are going to, analyze the study, whether it is apt or not for publication. So for you, abstract and the conclusion is what is important, not the entire article if you're dealing with original articles. So I think that is what I had to add, and we have Dr. Chaitra ma'am also. And
Dr. Natasha will speak something. Dr. Natasha is also with us.
Yes.
Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
please
sir.
give your.
So first of all, it's a fan moment for me because I have heard about Dr. JB so often when I started writing also. I mean, like Dr. JB mentioned, your spouse is usually your greatest critic. So my spouse was always my greatest critic, and he's always told me that, when you see JB sir, you would realize that everything can be a topic for a publication. So that's what I've learned from sir. But this is the first time I'm actually getting to hear him talk. That's a fan moment for me. Yeah, to add to what Dr. Pranita mentioned just now, that methodology may not be very important for you as a PG student, but a methodology may give you ideas about how to start your own research if you want to start a research. Because if you plan to write a thesis also, you need to plan your research methodology. So for that, I think, you need to go to the methodology section also. But like you mentioned, discussion, go directly to the conclusion and see if you really want to read this entire paper, and read up the entire paper only if you're convinced that this is what I really want to read, and this is the kind of methodology that I want to replicate in my study, or something similar or something different also. You could get some ideas from the methodology. That's what I would like to add. Thank you.
Dr. Pranita, can we take the feedback from the postgraduates?
Yes, sir.
If they have
We'll
if anybody wants to.
Dr. Pooja. Dr. Pooja, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? Okay. So you're a postgraduate student in which year?
Second year.
Second year. So do you have any questions from the panelists to ask?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that when I have to select an article, so like what should be like, how will I start? Like which article is more important and which is not that important? Like, is there any way we can select, like super select articles on a topic?
It's a good idea to go to that article like, PubMed search and go to a review article first. Like in Survey of Ophthalmology gives a very good review articles update, and other journals also has got some few section. But Survey of Ophthalmology is a very good area to look into that one. And regarding the research ideas, that one of the best areas of research ideas you can get from the Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences website. They have that ARVO abstract. This ARVO abstract is the first step for the research work, and you can get that ideas from there, how to do the research, clinical and basic research, the abstract of the ARVO or American Academy.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving on to the next discussant, Dr. Chitrangna. Dr. Chitrangna Singh, she is from HIMS Lucknow. Are you there? Yeah. Can you unmute yourself? If she is not available, Dr. Bharat Mittal, from HIMS Lucknow. Dr. Bharat. I think I can see Dr. Ranjan is there. Dr. Ranjan.
Good evening, sir and ma'am.
Can you just introduce yourself? Which year are you in?
I'm Dr. Ranjan Sharma. I'm in second year, ma'am.
Okay, second year. So you are already working on your thesis?
Started, ma'am, just collecting some samples.
Collecting samples. Any experience of publication or going through finding out articles, or any questions you have?
Till now, nothing, ma'am, like not planned, ma'am, but thinking out paper presentation, ma'am. For that, I'm thinking how to collect data and what should be my thought process.
So which platform did you use when you were designing your thesis? You must have gone through some articles. So which platform did you use for search?
Ma'am, randomly I'm searching, but BMJ journal and PubMed and I'm not remembering, ma'am. This in our college they have provided with this journal, some like free journals, ma'am. We are following those, ma'am, now.
Okay. Okay, so it's always a good idea that you go through the PubMed index system for searching so that you are on the right track. Dr. Jyoti and Dr. Sonali are also here. Anybody wants to ask any question to Dr. Biswas?
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Yes, continue, Sonali.
Sir, I was also having the same doubt for new ideas for research, like in which field we can have new research. And another thing is getting new articles and how to read them, because sometimes I also feel exhausted while reading those articles clearly, starting from abstract, then I just land up in midway. That was my question, sir.
How to find something new? I think only sir can answer this question, Dr. Biswas.
So what I do regularly, when I get some time, I go to the American Academy website and type uveitis, because my area of practice, and then what are the articles coming up, I just see. I go to the website of the ARVO abstract and type uveitis. and then see that what are ophthalmic pathology, what is coming out, and then try to see that abstract, whether it is something new, something attracts me, something is possible for me to do, and that's the way I do it. And then if it is interesting, I share with my postgraduates and ask them to present in the departmental meet and go into the depth of it. And I use a highlighter and a red pen to important statistics. I just get it in that one, important references, I highlight it. And the conclusion, what are the important conclusions, I just see that one. Methodology, if I'm not doing the same research, I don't go into the methodology that much. The tables and figures, I go through them in more detail.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for
Good
the
evening,
words of
everyone.
wisdom.
Good evening, audible?
Not clear. Please continue. Dr. Jyoti.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Biswas. Your talk was really inspiring and really interesting research as
Maybe you can type, Jyoti, because it's not clear.
Your voice is cracking, Jyoti. We are not able to hear you. If you have any question, I think you can put it in the chat box also.
Yeah, correct.
So I think with this, we have come to an end of the discussions that we had. For the concluding remarks, we have.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Ranjan.
Sir, which websites, like any list of websites are you having so that we can follow up those websites only?
List of websites for?
Hello.
Searching like abstract, any to get ideas, ma'am.
PubMed will be the good. PubMed, Google Scholar.
So the thing, Ranjan, is there's no simple answer for that. Okay, so it depends on what you're searching for. Whether you're searching for to write on paper or to research a particular disease. So you should understand that PubMed is just an index of where you can find what. You can't find full text ever on PubMed. Okay, so if you're looking to find research, to write up like a review article or an original article, you will go on PubMed and put your keywords. Suppose you want to look at dry eye disease. That's the latest IGO issue that's come. So you put in dry eye associated with, say, for example, post-LASIK. So you'll put LASIK surgery and dry eye, and then you'll find a list of articles, right from original to reviews, and they have good filters on PubMed. And once you zero in on articles, you have a way where you can save it to collections. Once you've saved it in your collections, export it and find sources which will give you full text. There are multiple places. There is one network on Academy website itself, which gives you access to several journals. IGO itself is open access. So there are open access and paid things. So wherever you have open access, you'll be able to find these particular articles. So it all depends on what you're searching for. Not like PubMed is just a major, the world's biggest index on all the possible literature that's available in research.
Okay.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, Dr. Jyoti, yes.
Yes. Okay, I wanted to ask one question. Like, as a beginner, as a postgraduate beginner for research, shall we focus on superficial research, like just like we find something interesting in the clinic and we try to publish that thing as a case report, or shall we go deep into that topic, because there are so many new things that we find in clinics on everyday basis, so it becomes very overwhelming to go around all the topics. So shall we focus on case report publishing as a beginner, or shall we go deep into one topic and make it a case series and try to publish that as a beginner? Like, which is the best route to take?
I think I'll take that question, Jyoti. So it all depends on, again, what is your ultimate goal? Okay, so if you're actually looking for a position wherein you want to make your CV strong, case reports are
Right.
not going to suffice. But having said that, major discoveries, drug reactions, rare associations, presentations have all come about through case reports itself. So just because you are seeing it for the first time, it may not be the first time. So if you think
Right.
it's the first time ever, this has never been seen anywhere, just go on PubMed and look for it. You'll be surprised to know there'll be probably 10 other publications from different countries or different specialties on a similar theme. But having said that, it will still add to your CV. But if you're looking at a position where research is a requirement, you want to do a PhD and therefore you're submitting an application, having a larger body of work or more in-depth research will definitely be a requirement. So at a postgraduate or a fellow level, publishing is extremely important because it adds to your CV, it builds up your career. So don't ignore anything. Whatever comes your way, whatever your time and resources allow you to do, go ahead. It could be a letter to the editor, like what JB sir was saying. He's published every single type of article. Even at his stage now, he is still publishing, sending out case reports and letters to the editor. It doesn't mean that, there is a yardstick to decide which to do when. So whatever you think is worthwhile to publish, which has not been reported before, I think you should go ahead and do it. Simultaneously work on a large body of work. If you're seeing in your particular region, there is a predominance of a particular sign or a particular disease, increased prevalence, then that will be a fantastic work to do at your geographical or ethnic region.
So,
Thank you.
I think Dr. Santosh, can you please summarize and give your opinion?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I think after Dr. JB speaks and after so many stalwarts who have discussed, concluding remark is not necessary. But I'd like to tell that a person like Dr. Biswas, who is a true researcher and a person from whom we can take how to start researching not only as a postgraduate but also as a ophthalmologist or a professional. You can see he has preserved the photograph of a tubercular granuloma which he has taken as the first step, and now still he is doing the same. So there is no end to it. I think also the question from the last postgraduate where she was asking whether to go ahead with the case report or wait till a series is being built up. I think there is no waiting. If you have a interesting case where it need to be like published, you should go ahead. On your way, if more and more cases of is being added, you can definitely go ahead to do it a case series or the original article as and when it comes. So documentation is of paramount importance. As you said, literature search and how to read an article, all these have been discussed, and each like ORPI session is still a learning session for me, and that's why I'm here. I think we have discussed very important points, and as you have noted, I think we can take each and every point Dr. Biswas has enumerated during his talk so that all of us can publish. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Sir, Dr. Shobhit sir, for giving me the opportunity.
Sure, sir. Before I thank everybody, I will ask our host Nimaji to share the video, host video. Nimaji?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please share the video. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Professor JB, giving us a really great session today. It's a wonderful session. Maybe your experience start to the end. And I think we have learned a lot from you. And we look forward to meet you once again in future. Thank you very much for joining us for the last 1 hour. So I thank our moderator, Dr. Pranita, really wonderfully. So somebody said that Pranita is a really prolific writer and prolific. Yes. So you proved it today. I'm really thankful to you be with us. And I think I wish always you should be with us, with EIZOC people, in our writing and everything. Okay? In our all ORPI programs, either a moderator, speaker, also speaker, moderator, panelist, whatever may be. So be with us. Yeah, thank you very much. And all the panelists, Dr. Bandana, Dr. Sarmishta, Dr. Nidhi, and of course, Dr. Sujata, have all contributed to today's program. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, all the students have asked questions. First time, everybody came with the video and put the questions and have a good discussion. Thanks, everybody. And of course, not but the least is Dr. Chaitra, our mentor, always with us, guiding the topics, guiding the speakers, guiding the panelists, everything. So thank you very much, Dr. Chaitra, be with us always. Last but not the least, Dr. Natasha is always with us, as a moderator, and again as an advisor. So she's always with us. Thank you everybody for joining this wonderful program. Last but not the least, host Entered Pharmaceuticals to provide this panel platform today. So lastly, I thank EIZOC President, Secretary, and the Chairman Scientific Committee always encouraging us to host webinars for the postgraduate students. So thank you all for joining us. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.